Hey guys, how you doing? Back with another video. Today I'm talking about the Steam Machine, and really, I mean the lack thereof. We're in June, 6 months through the year, and we haven't seen it. But why I think when it eventually releases, either way, with what is projected price wise and everything, I just think this is just going to be a failed bit of gaming hardware. Um, so anyways, you know, Valve proposed a Steam Machine. There was a lot of hype around it initially. Obviously, they planned on releasing it earlier on this year, but there's memory shortages. So for RAM and storage, with all the AI database going on, and I'm not going to get into all that side of things. If you don't know about it, read up about it. RAM prices went through the absolute roof, doubled, tripled, quadrupled. So it bumped hardware up a fair bit. So Valve sort of, has delayed the release of it to sort of get a better standing of what's happening in, the market and where it's going to sort of stabilize so they can, offer sort of a solid price to the consumer, someone who wants to buy this Steam machine. Um, anyways, it just seems like a complete non-starter for me. I just don't know how it's going to have any success when it's released. So right now, this is in US dollars. We got two Steam Deck models. And obviously the Steam Deck had a recent price bump because of all the memory and storage problems and just hardware manufacturing costs going up. So you've got, the 512 gig, you got the 1 terabyte, and the Steam machine is proposed to be a considerable amount more expensive than the Deck. So, anywhere between, I guess, projections on the low end are going to be at least $1,000, which I think it's going to be a lot more than that. It's going to have to be. I'd expect somewhere around the $1,200 mark. If they could get it lower than that, that'd be pretty impressive. But with that price comes the biggest reason as to why I think it's going to fail and why would anyone sort of buy it. So breaking it down, really, the hardware of the Steam machine is very sort of low end. I mean, as far as like, I guess GPU performance and GPU power, it's running something similar to like an AMD 7600M, which is RDNA 3. So it's the last generation of GPUs, sort of hardware they're running in this. And it's not a very powerful GPU. And on top of that, this is not a computer in the fact that it's modular, so you can't upgrade the graphics card and the CPU later on. They're soldered to the board. The only things you can upgrade, I think, are memory and storage. So you've got a GPU there that is less powerful pretty much, or they're on par, I guess. We'll have to see the results of it, of like a PlayStation 6 or Xbox Series X console. But it's going to be released in 2026. These consoles were released in 2020. So it's already, I guess, not that powerful on the GPU end. Plus, we're seeing, current hardware, like current console hardware, struggling with a lot of sort of new titles that are coming out. Like, look at how Crimson Desert, Borderlands, all this sort of shit runs on consoles at the moment, and it's performing very poorly. They're dropping down now with, new games down close to that 30 FPS mark, and probably with GTA 6, which is going to be released at the end of this year, it's probably going to be close to that 30 FPS mark. Why that's important is that, Valve has said that the Steam machine is going to be released and it's going to be able to do 4K 60 FPS with upscaling. And upscaling technology for RDNA 3 really isn't that great at the moment as far as visual fidelity, how it looks. I think, they're getting upgrades now as it's coming to, as new, I guess, new upscaling software for RDNA 4 is going to be sort of pulled back and be able to be used on RDNA 3. But so with upscaling, and we've already got, current gen consoles suffering with that. So you're going to release this piece of gaming hardware in 2026. The life cycle of a console generally is sort of around, 7 to 8 years. It depends on when the next generation comes out. I think the one before PS5, so PS4 generation to PS5, and Xbox One to Xbox Series X was between 7 or 8 years. So say that's the, I guess the average lifespan of a console generation. How long do we think we're going to get out of the Steam machine before it becomes a piece of hardware that is non-upgradable and can't really run any modern day good games? my best guess is like 4 years out of the console or the Steam machine. Sorry, I shouldn't call it a console because it's a computer, but it's a Linux-based Steam OS computer. But my guess would be 4 or 5 years before it really is struggling to sort of run newer games at that point. And I think that's a problem for the price it's going to be. And I guess the whole thing is, you're really better off because then you're locked into, okay, if you don't know SteamOS really doesn't support any multiplayer games if that's what you're into, because there's kernel level anti-cheat involved in multiplayer games that is really only Windows compatible. Hopefully they develop something that, the Steam machine, the Steam Deck for competitive games, I guess like Call of Duty, all those sort of titles, Battlefield, that can run on them. I think that'd be a big plus for the Steam machine. As of right now, it really can't do any sort of multiplayer gaming. It does single player gaming. So you're stuck on there. And then, some people are going to say, well, it is a PC, so you can install Windows on it, which is true. But why buy it for $1,200 and then, I guess its whole thing that's going for it is it's got Steam OS on it. It's going to possibly get optimized games through Steam, sort of like how Steam Deck verification. I don't think it's going to be on a developer level to where it's like, this like it is with consoles. Obviously not. But yeah, I mean, you wouldn't go then and install Windows on your Steam machine. There's no point. Like, really, if you're looking at getting into computer gaming on PC, I guess going for a second-hand computer seems like a much more feasible option. Getting something off Facebook Marketplace, I don't know what you guys have in the US or wherever you are, some second-hand, older generation PC, I guess, is a really good place to start because it's a platform that you can upgrade on. Even if you're locked into, say, the previous generation of CPUs and you don't want to change your motherboard, depending on what it's got in it, previous generation of CPUs, there's some pretty high-end stuff within what they were manufacturing at that time that can run modern-day games very well. So, I mean, it's just a non-starter, really. I don't know how this is going to turn out for Valve. I feel like this is going to be a bit of failed hardware. I don't see the point in it other than the novelty of having a small box next to your TV. It's pretty cool, like the form factor, I guess. But yeah, just the more and more I think about it, the more and more this thing just really doesn't make sense. I feel like it's going to be performing on current gen console level, if that. We're going to have to see when it gets released and fully tested. But for the price, go out, get yourself a secondhand PC if you want to get into PC gaming. Then you can do the secondhand upgrade path as well. In my local area, there's tons of PC parts, processors, GPUs always getting sold for sort of semi-decent prices because people do upgrades and then they resell on. Obviously, at the moment, people are trying to get an inflated price, which they're not going to get. But there's an upgrade path. That's definitely sort of the way to go. You probably will be able to install, if you use an AMD system, which is what SteamOS is designed for, SteamOS on your PC, if that's the way you want to go. But there's just too much going against this bit of gaming hardware, in my opinion. I don't see the point in it. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think there is really, can you guys think of a strong reason to sort of, I guess, purchase the Steam machine? It's going to be interesting. I really like the look of it. I think it's super cool. Even when it gets released, I'd be tempted to get it. But when you really think about the hardware it sort of has, I just don't see there being really any point with the limitations with multiplayer gaming. I don't see there's really any point. And the fact that there's much better value in the secondhand PC market. Anyways, if you like the video, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think I'm wrong about this? I think there's not really much of a counter argument at this stage for pricing, unless they can reduce the price massively. Something happens in the AI space. The bubble pops, memory prices go down. They can sell it for like $800 US. Then I can see a really, then green light, go for it. Anyways, let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next one.